Hey, how y'all doing? This is Jay from FLA. I'm here to give y'all my review on Troops into Transportation. So I started my class back in January 28th to be exact. It is now February 21st, and I actually take my CDL's driver test tomorrow. So first thing first, Troops into Transportation is GI Bill funded. I want to say that you use about 3 months of your GI Bill, somewhere in between. But the total cost for the actual course itself is $9,000, a little under $9,000. So I've been here for about a little over 4 weeks, and they basically taught me everything about truck driving, from the functions of the truck, learning how to work the Qualcomm. Well, they gave us like a brief version of it. They didn't really go into details, but they did the actual paper logs. So you learn how to work your clock, your hours of service. You learned about all your safety rules, all the violations that you have to be aware of, the laws you have to follow, the different information for what you need to know, what you need to do as far as truck driving, when you're out on the road, things to be, cognitive of. So basically that first week we get in there, you start taking our little driver practice, and our driver practice test so we can get our CDL permits first week. I had about three days of like real hardcore studying. And what they did was they gave us like these 10 different books to study from and use. And it basically covered the general knowledge, the air brakes, combination vehicles, everything that the test consists of. Made up my own word, but it's broken down in 3 sections. And what they did was, for those 3 days, hardcore, we studied, took practice tests. And then they gave us books as well that we took back to the hotel room to study. And like I said, by that Thursday, we went in there because I got here Monday. By that Thursday, went in there, got a permit, test. Luckily, I was able to pass first time go. We had a few, I think about 5 or 6 out of the 20 in our class, 5 or 6 had to retest. And on the second time, about 80% of them got it. And then on the third time, the rest of them got it. And the instructors gave us every amount of time to study. And then for those that didn't pass the first time go, they made sure they was able to study. And once everybody got their permits, we were good to go. But for that first week, like I said, we were basically just doing practice tests so we get our permit. Until week 2, that's when we started doing the heavy classwork, learning as far as, like I was telling you, about the hours of service, learning about the different functions of the truck, learning about the different parts, all the laws that we have to follow, all the regulations, deep studies on what every trucker should know as far as what they need to do and how they need to conduct themselves, what they need to be mindful of while they're on the road. Once we got past week 2, we did some more quizzes, more tests, and make sure that we were actually retaining all the knowledge, getting everything, understanding the trucks, understanding the regulations, understanding how to be a truck driver. Now moving into week 3, week 4, that's when we actually start going out to drive the trucks in the training area, which they called the range. From there it was maneuvers, learning how to back up, learning how to, negotiate terms, learning how to shift. For me, which was actually intimidating at first because I never drove a manual car ever. in my life, and I'm only 24. But I never drove a manual. So now, not only am I learning how to drive a manual, but not the traditional 5-6 speed, now I'm driving the 10 speed. So at first it was a little intimidating, but they gave us every amount of time to study, to learn the truck, learn how to shift. They literally took us on the road without a trailer that first week, and that's all we did was go up and down this long back road, learning how to upshift, downshift, learning about the double clutching and all those great things. And within about 4 days of actually driving, I started getting better. I didn't stall out as much. And then about week 4, that's when I actually got proficient where, I could make it up the hill without stalling, shifting to gears without grinding the gears. So it was actually a great experience, especially me learning something that I never done before. So I will definitely commend the instructors on that. By the way, I didn't mention I was at Fort Benning doing Troop Center transportation. They have different facilities across the U.S., but for me, I had chose Fort Benning because it was closer to my home, because I'm originally from Southwest Georgia. And I was stationed at Fort Stewart at the time when I got out. And I just got out last month in January. So I chose to go to Fort Benning, but I know they offer it. I know they got a facility in Miami. I think that's the main headquarters. I know they got one in Texas. They got one here at Fort Benning in Columbus, and then one at Fort Stewart. And I know it's some other places. I know it's one more in New York and a couple other places, but those are the ones I can remember off my head. But definitely look it up, Google it. If not, if you're getting out, or even if you got out, it's too easy to get in touch with a VA rep, or, your transition assistance manager, program assistant, somebody to be able to get you into the right direction. But ultimately, like I said, my experiences with Fort Benning, Georgia, and their staff here, and like I said, the guys here are great. They took time to work with us, helped us on whatever we were messing up on. Like, for instance, me, like I said, never shifted gears before. Every car I've driven has been automatic up until now with this truck. They helped me with that. They helped me with my learning how to back up the trucks, making sure I was good at straight line backing, alley dog, parallel parking, offset backing. They really made sure we got it down. I would say that they don't hold your hand necessarily. They do kind of just put you out there and throw you into the midst of everything at first, which, may make people nervous, may intimidate some people like it did me. But, once I got out there and got moving, it was easier and I picked it up because I'm more of a hands-on learner. For those who are hands-on, by all means, no problem whatsoever. If you, need somebody to kind of hold your hand, they'll do it too. They'll help you. We had a couple guys, took them till literally a few days ago to kind of actually master driving these big trucks. So don't feel bad, don't feel, nervous or intimidated by it, because it's attainable. Anybody can do it. And the only reason why I say that is because of me, and from my own experiences, and me not knowing little to nothing about these trucks or the magnitude of what it takes to actually operate these trucks. And I made it through, and I'm confident. So I definitely say, hey, if you're getting out, you definitely don't have a plan, you're not sure what you want to do, or you've already been out for a few years and, whatever career path you thought about or what you were trying to do, you wasn't sure it wasn't working out, it's never too late to get into truck driving. It's a very lucrative business, and I've seen a lot of my buddies, my buddies that I was stationed with that got out, that went truck driving. You know, they're now 3-5 years in, and they're very successful right now. Even got a couple buddies that started a fleet. So it's definitely possible to really make some money out here and at least, you know, build a better life for yourself outside of the military if, you know, that's something you're into. But I definitely recommend Troops into Transportation. What else? I will say that when you get here, getting in the program, it's not that hard. They work with me well, you know. You do need to have a somewhat decent driving record, you know, especially not necessarily for the course itself, but for actual trucking companies getting hired. I've learned that. Also, you know, make sure that your license are in order, because we did have a couple, you know, issues with some people. I'm not gonna go into details and say any names or whatever, but there were some people that had, like, you know, DUIs that they didn't like get correct with a certain stage, and are those who had like speeding tickets, parking tickets that they just failed to pay, that kind of came out once they tried to go get their permit. So definitely make sure your driving record's in order. I recommend paying for the driving record and getting it. I know the school will offer it to you and they'll give it to you so you can see it after you graduate, but it's still good to know where you stand as far as your driving record. But yeah, definitely do it. Is there anything else I can think of? I covered the pay, covered GI Bill. Oh, you also with the GI Bill, if you don't know, you'll get BAH for this as well. Even with it being a short course, you still get BAH. They'll pay that to you. I know for here in Columbus, I talked to my VA rep. She said I should be getting about close to $1,300 at the beginning of March, because they just processed it now that I graduated. So they just set it up to get it processed. So about around March, the beginning of March, I should have it. That on top of my book stipend that they're supposed to be giving me. And then the company themselves, oh yeah, that's the other thing. The company, they reimbursed me for my hazmat background. They're gonna reimburse me for my endorsements, which is another major thing you're gonna need coming in. So they're gonna reimburse me for my endorsements, for me getting my tanker, hazmat, double, triple endorsements. They're gonna cover my hazmat background, which they've already sent that check. And then they also gonna pay me travel pay for me driving my car, because I drove my vehicle from Fort Stewart to here, and I got around. I actually drove a couple other people around. So they take care of you here. Like I said, I'm at the Candlewood Suite in Columbus. Not the most ideal location, but it's closer to both and a better driving distance. So it's a no-brainer of why they sent us here. But like I said, the staff here, they've been nice. You know, it's a lot better than most hotels I've been at via the Army. So definitely, if you're interested in doing truck driving and you want to make this a career and you're prior military, or even have a relative or a family member, somebody that's nice enough and willing enough to let you use their GI Bill to go on their behalf, then by all means, look into Troops into Transportation. I have nothing but high remarks for this organization and this school, and I'm definitely excited for the future. And like I said, I take my permit, not my permit, I take my driver's test to get my actual CDL tomorrow, and then I have to wait till like Tuesday or Wednesday because DMV is going to be closed, so I can get it printed out and take my endorsements. But as I continue on from this point, I'll definitely keep everything documented, and I'll try to keep these updates and videos coming as I go. But this was just my review, my own personal review for Troops into Transportation. Excuse me, I can't talk right now. But If you have any more questions, any thoughts, or if you want to just put in and chime in about CDL, taking the CDL school or anything in general, please leave your comments, subscribe, like the video. If you need more feedback, like I said, just hit my comments, let me know. I'll try to add some more information in the description when I upload this. But like I said, once again, I'm Jay from FLA, and this was my review for Troops and Transportation.